What's going on, friends? Well, it's finally happened. That little debacle that Harley-Davidson went through a couple of months ago, the results are in and we're starting to see just how it affected them. Now, make no mistake, I want Harley-Davidson to succeed, and they need to succeed because we need those new motorcycles because the new motorcycles are going to be tomorrow's used bikes, so we need Harley-Davidson to keep on rolling. Oh, and make no mistake, the finger pointing has begun, and they're pointing the finger at just about everyone and everything, but probably what the root cause of what the situation actually was. Some of you were absolutely right about Harley-Davidson, and I'm going to let you know a little later on in the video just how right you were. Harley-Davidson has had a really tough go of it here lately, especially with basically the CEO being completely out of touch with their customer base. Harley-Davidson CEO has been in absolute damage control mode after the third quarter sales numbers came out. Now, the numbers were in, and it's only down about 10%. Now, while this doesn't sound too bad, trust me, it gets a whole lot worse when we really get into it. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Harley-Davidson dealers are really hurting right now, and what they're reporting back to Harley-Davidson is that they're just seeing an absolute decrease in traffic through all the dealerships and the shops. Now, bear in mind, I know we're going into a wintertime now, but what they're telling Harley-Davidson is basically should have been their busy season, and, well, their busy season never really happened. It never came to fruition. The people just weren't coming into the dealers, and they weren't selling any new motorcycles. Of course, Harley-Davidson's CEO is blaming the economy and the state of things right now, and I'll give him that. I can see that to a degree, but it possibly couldn't have had absolutely anything to do with what happened over the summer and the decisions that were made behind closed doors at Harley-Davidson that became public and put on display for all of us to see. Global Harley-Davidson sales, worldwide sales of Harley-Davidson are down 13%. Now, compared to the third quarter of last year, sales are down 39%. That is absolutely insane. Now, that's not good for anybody at any level at Harley-Davidson, whether you're working in a dealership, you own a dealership, you're working on the line, you're in the office at Harley-Davidson. That is really bad numbers. That's some bad news right there. That's going to cause a lot of people to get laid off and lose their job, other than the guy that probably really honestly needs to be gone. And to make matters worse, the sales of parts and accessories, those were even down 6%. All these numbers are coming in off what should have been the busy season for Harley-Davidson. This is terrible news, especially when they should have been shipping and selling motorcycles, parts, and accessories like it was nobody's business. Now, Harley-Davidson only turned $106 million in revenue last quarter. Now, I know $106 million, that sounds like buku bucks to all of us. I know I'd take 106 million, no problem. But here's the problem. That is down 49% compared to the third quarter last year. That's just how bad this is. Now, Zeitz is saying this is all due to economic impacts, and as I mentioned, I'll give him that. But it couldn't possibly have anything to do with the little boycott that happened after the Sturgis this summer. Harley-Davidson never really owned up to that either. They never really apologized for it. They just kind of sent out that scathing letter that basically said, well, it's the customer's fault for not agreeing with us, but we're going to go ahead and change things and do what the customer wants. So there's a little bit of a win on that part there. Now, looking forward, Harley-Davidson really isn't seeing a very bright future themselves. They'd initially predicted sales to be down just about 3%, but now Harley-Davidson's coming back and saying that, well, it's probably going to be more like 8 to 10% down from what we were expecting. Harley-Davidson honestly planned for things to be slow, and when it comes to new shipments of motorcycles out to the dealerships, they were really banking on being down about 8%, maybe 8 to 10%. But now Harley-Davidson is coming back and saying that even that's going to be down upwards of possibly 20%. But there is some good news for you guys that actually commented that Harley-Davidson is nothing more than a t-shirt company. I'm going to tell you right now, you weren't wrong when it comes to that. This is where a lot of you that made that comment were absolutely correct. Sales of merchandise and t-shirts and all the clothing and accessories, those are actually really padding the bottom line at Harley-Davidson right now, believe it or not. Those sales are really up 13%, if you can believe that, amid the slumping sales and all the gloom and doom coming from the motorcycles, parts, and accessories right now. So, all jokes aside, in that regard, when it comes to t-shirts, for those of you that commented about that, you were absolutely correct, and I can't disagree with you there. Now, you might be wondering, why do I care about new Harley-Davidson sales? I haven't set foot in a dealer in years. Well, as I mentioned, these new bikes, this is what's going to be the used market in the coming years. This is what's going to keep Harley-Davidson alive and going. That's what's going to keep guys like you, guys like me, out in the shops, buying used motorcycles, and continuing to keep that brand and those motorcycles alive. I mean, I hate to say it, the Evos, they're going to get about as scarce as the shovel heads, and then think about it, next is the twin cams, and then eventually the only thing you're going to be able to find out there is going to be the Milwaukee 8s. A lot of these bikes, you know, you think back on shovels and pans, how hard they are to come by today. I know this is years away, but that's how the twin cams and the Evos are going to get eventually. Now, with all this happening, this kind of explains what I've seen with some very large Harley-Davidson dealership chains. They started expanding into other markets, into other avenues, other brands of motorcycles, taking on power sports. Now, whether they got the money to do it, and they're just doing it to make more money, or maybe they're seeing what's going on at Harley-Davidson, so they're starting to expand their portfolio a little bit, try to get in some different things. In case Harley-Davidson tanks and they close those dealers, they can still stay in business. But guys, let me know in the comments, knowing the numbers now, what do you feel like the future of Harley-Davidson is going to look like? Do you feel like they're going to bounce back, or do you feel like they're just kind of going to be a former shell of themselves? Let me know what you think down in the comments section. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But till next week, guys, stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.